After last night's mass shooting in Las Vegas and the death toll still mounting, WBON-TV is here at the Madison County Sheriff's Office, where we sat down with Deputy Mike Stotts to get some insight on the training that the Sheriff's Office goes through, as well as get tips for civilians in a massive shooting attack such as that one.
We have naturally training every year. It may not be an active shooter, but we have all had active shooter training. And of course our training consists of, if there's gunfire in an active shooter situation, you go to that gunfire and you hopefully eliminate that threat. If the shooting stops, then you start doing searching until you can find this person, whoever it may be. But naturally we're going to go to the gunfire until it stops. And I challenge business owners, factories, to do active shooter training, that make sure they're all their employees aware of what to do and what they can do if they have an active shooter, because it's just not limited to schools.
We also spoke to Detective Zachary Stokes at the Richmond Police Department and Corey Lewis at the Richmond Fire Department about the training that they undergo.
Well, that starts at the Department of Criminal Justice Training. Several years ago, they began implementing what we call a response to an active shooter. So now that is taught in every academy class, and there is a lot of follow-on training that you can do through the Department of Criminal Justice Training, and that's something that we do send our officers to. A lot of officers in the state of Kentucky have been doing, and that is something that we're all taught the same way. So if this was a situation where you're put in with somebody from a completely different jurisdiction, you would be able to work together and know what everybody's doing and have a good idea of what the plan is. One of the things that's being taught to civilians, this is at the workplace, churches, wherever, is three things. It's run, hide, and fight. The preference is to run. If you can get away from that, get away from what's going on, get away from somebody with a gun, a knife, whatever it is, run, get away. Okay? If you cannot get away and you are backed into a corner, you have the ability to hide rather than run, hide. Barricade yourself, get behind a locked door. If you have a phone, call the police, give us all the information you possibly can. If there's a suspect, what he looks like, what he's wearing, what he has, what type of weapon he has, where you're at, are you hurt, are there any other people around you that are hurt? And then obviously the last resort that we want people to do is fight. Because obviously this person's probably armed with a dangerous instrument or a knife or a gun, and we want to limit that person's ability to hurt other people.
So our fire department personnel train jointly with the ERU teams, the emergency response teams from the Richmond Police Department, the state police, as well as Eastern Kentucky University. And you may have already heard, this year there was a significant large-scale active shooter exercise on the campus of Eastern Kentucky University. We had a hand in doing that. We practiced where we would stage in the event of an active shooter on the campus of Eastern Kentucky University. We practiced our triage skills in the event we had mass casualties. We practiced how we would respond jointly with the ERU teams in the event there was an active shooter. So how would we handle ourselves? How would we conduct ourselves? How would we work to remove patients from harm's way while not inhibiting the ability of law enforcement to engage that person and track that person down? So our role may not be from the law enforcement side of working to get rid or de-escalate the situation, but we have a very big role when it comes to the emergency medical service side of that. We're able to treat and triage patients. We're able to establish those safe zones. We're able to use our fire trucks possibly in a manner to protect individuals from the escalating event. So we practice that. We put that into play this year with that exercise at Eastern Kentucky University with their EHS and EM departments. And we practiced really how we would play in a situation. And that's not something that we encounter, thankfully, very often, but it is a asset in our repertoire, and we will know how to do it. We will know what we should do. We would know how to handle this situation, and really how we would work cohesively with the organizations, specifically law enforcement and other organizations that are coming in from out of town.
For WBON-TV here in Richmond, I'm Marissa Hempel.